How much should you pay if you buy a business? Well, it depends a lot on the business. And I guess, first of all, you've got to think about, should you even be buying the business? A lot of people, especially in mergers and acquisitions, M&A, they think they'll buy anything. And then they deal with the problems after they buy it, if they do buy it. You should only ever consider buying a business for a couple of reasons. One, you know and understand the business or the industry that you're buying a business in. Or you're so passionate about something that you know you're going to dedicate a lot of time to it. And there's different reasons why people will buy businesses. Sometimes people will buy add-ons to their existing business, and that's very popular. Other people will buy a business with the intention of growing the business. They see something there and they think to themselves, well, I'll grow that business. Or, in my case, what I do is I buy revenue. In other words, I want to buy a business that I don't need to do anything to. I want it to just produce income. And that's one of the hardest things to do in a business, because you really need a team there. You need a management in place. And you don't want to spend that much time on it if you're just looking to buy revenue. Now, and if you do, you've got to decide how much are you going to pay for that business. And there's lots of different calculations, and people say, well, it depends on the industry. And before AI revolution kind of hit, SaaS was the popular thing. And a few years ago, people were paying up to 10 times, 11 times the revenue earnings to buy SaaS companies, which never made any sense to me. And I'll tell you why. A good rule of thumb is, for a reasonable business, is 3 times distributable cash. Now, what does that mean? That means that if you have revenue in a business and then you take off all your expenses, what you're left with after tax is the distributable cash. Right? So let's say that you buy a business for $1 million and hypothetically it makes $333,000 if you like. Then that means after 3 years, you get your money back. Right? So the money that you invested, you get back. But think about this. You get your money back, but at that point that you get your money back, you haven't done anything. You put in $1 million and you got $1 million back, and it took 3 years to accomplish that task. Now, when people say they're going to buy at a 10 times multiple, that means that it will take 10 years to get your money back. Now, that's a long time, particularly in small business. A lot of businesses go under, a lot of things happen, key personnel leave, and 10 years out is just too far in advance for me. 3 years is a good number. I know that most people are going to hang around, for 3 years. The revenue, if you make a mistake when you buy the business, let's say you invested $1 million into the business and it wasn't what you thought it was. Well, and there's a high probability of that, but let's say it wasn't what you thought it was. You wouldn't lose the $1 million. You would probably lose a percentage of it, because it will generate some kind of revenue. That's why due diligence is one of the most important things that you can do. And when you do due diligence, you've got to get to the cash records. You've got to get to see bank statements. You've got to see where that cash flow is. You've got to really know and understand how the cash moves through the business and how you get money back. Most small businesses don't make any money. It surprises a lot of people that the owner, just like a franchise, they'll probably make a reasonable living, but there's not that much extra cash where they can distribute it or reinvest it the way that they would like. So buying a business it's not a difficult concept. In fact, I teach that concept. I work with people and teach them how to buy businesses. And we try and buy businesses without taking any money from our pocket. That's a lot different from saying buy a business with no cash. So buying a business when there's no money from your pocket is using different types of leverage, creative finance, bringing in investors. And that can be a little bit complicated. But fundamentally, you've got to look at the business first. Is this something that you can add value to? Is this something that you can, improve the situation if you need to? So rule number 1 for me is I have no intention of trying to improve the business. I make my decision of whether I'm going to buy a business or not based on what it's doing right now. Because every seller of a business will tell you his failed dream of how you can improve the revenue from the business. And it never happens. And most people don't have more energy than the person who originally founded it. So the way you get the business is probably as good as it's going to get. Unless, in my situation, I own a marketing company. So I can usually add quite a bit of value by applying a lot of marketing to whatever I get involved with. But I still don't base my decision on whether I think I can improve it or not. I base it on fundamentals, what it's doing now, and a good logical decision. There's a lot more I can say about this, but if you like these sort of videos and want to know more about buying businesses, selling businesses, or how businesses run, give me some feedback. Give me a like, go to YouTube, that's the best place to get me, and subscribe. Thanks for listening.